when we're a baby, we're taken care of by our parents. I'm describing the birth of the false egos here to give us a sense about some of the things that go on in our head, and thank you all for coming. Sorry the plenary was late. So as a baby, we're taken care of by our parents. And in that care, when we cry, we get taken care of, and things seem to be going on pretty fine. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We cry, our mother takes care of us. Then we become a little more conscious as we grow. As a child, we grow, and we're a little child. And then something happens, some things happen to us that may really shake our world a little bit. We got our identity as a babe. Are you okay? It's not working? I'm not working. Thank you. As a little baby, we have an identity that, we just cry and we're taken care of. Then as we grow, we start to become more conscious and we notice things. And so we may notice that, now we have a baby brother or baby sister. That's kind of disconcerting. Or maybe somebody is yelling at us, or maybe somebody's hurting us or teasing us, or maybe we're put with a person, a caretaker that we don't know, and that's scary. Please welcome, welcome, welcome. Maybe somebody dies, or maybe somebody gets sick, or maybe we get sick and we're in the hospital. All of these things are very disconcerting. Please welcome. You can come in the middle here. This is very disconcerting for the child. Shakes the child's world. And the pain of the soul is also still there. That pain comes up, that grief, that pain, that sadness, like, what the heck am I doing here? And then the child is like, the world is shaken. But because we're trying to interpret all this pain through our little child's mind, the interpretation becomes perverted. And like something's not right here. Something doesn't feel right. Something doesn't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable here in this body, in this world. Something's not right, but because we're coming through the material child mind, we determine something is wrong with me, and it becomes personal. And that's the beginning of our false ego, the center around me. Something's wrong with me. And that's very painful. That's like our cracked persona. Something's wrong with me. Now, we don't like that, and we don't like to feel that something's wrong with us, because somewhere deep inside, the soul knows that, no, I'm part of Krishna. Somewhere deep inside, but we're not conscious of it. But the best we can do with our little material mind is to cover that pain. So, something's wrong with me. I'm not good enough. I'm not loved. I'm not smart enough. I'm not pretty enough. If you want to come in, please come. Welcome. Come in the middle. And so what we do is we cover over that pained persona, that cracked persona, with a protecting persona. And then we try to be really good, and we try to never be wrong. We become good little girls and good little boys, and we do all the right things so that we're loved and we get appreciated and we feel good about ourselves, because we don't want to feel that pain. It's a covering. Then we become older, and then we have to deal outside of our family with peers. And then we start comparing ourselves to others. And oh my gosh, they're better than me. They gave a better seminar than I gave. They're smarter than me. They know scriptures better than me, or whatever. And so that's our comparing persona, and that doesn't feel good either. So now we got to cover it over because we're in the world of duality. If something's wrong with me, I got to make it right. So now I got to make it right, and on top of that, I put my proving persona. I'm going to prove something about myself, that I'm smart enough, or I'm as good as this person, or maybe I'm better than this person, or maybe I'm just really different. I'm not like anybody else. I'm different. Okay, so then that's our proving persona. Then when we kind of go out in the world, when we're after, I don't know, when we go to hostels, 11th standard, 12th standard, we go to hostels, we go to colleges, universities, or we get married, or we go to an ashram, or we join the Hare Krishnas, but we're out of our familiar family zone, and then we gotta now we gotta come in. Please come in. We have to now make it in the world. And so we're confronted. Now we don't have that cushioned protection. And so that's our confronted persona. And then on top of that, we got to produce results. We got to produce something in the world. We got to make our way, and we got to find some meaning and purpose for ourselves. We got to produce some meaning and purpose. Who am I going to be? What am I going to do in this world? So those are like 6 different identities. And then we come to Krishna consciousness, and we try to paste that on top of all of those identities. And so generally, that doesn't work. I tried for 27 years, and I used super glue. But after 27 years, the following the external path of Krishna consciousness, doing it all right, doing it all logically right, doing whatever I was told, doing all the right things, it fell off, and then all this pain and anger came up, and I'm like, what's going on here? Krishna, come on, I should be a pure devotee by now. 27 years of blood, sweat, and tears. And I was pretty angry at Krishna because, I wanted to kill myself. And I can't even do that. Thanks a lot. Seriously, that was my prayer. Thanks a lot, Krishna. What? What do you want? What do you want? I guess you want me to look at something, right? I don't know what it is you want me to look at, but I'm hitting my head against it, but I don't know what it is. All those false egos. In Krishna consciousness, my misconception, I hope it's not yours, was that we should push down all our emotions and hide all this pain and shove it all down. It doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. It comes up whenever we're stressed. It comes up with our family and friends because they should love us anyway. They should know that our anger and our upset with them, they shouldn't take it personal. They have pain personas too, so they usually do take it personal. So that's what the head does for us. It's about duality and pain and protecting ourselves from pain. However, if we don't deal with those emotions, we'll end up throwing it on other people and passing it around. We pass around our pain, and then people pass theirs back to us. And so we're kind of like self-sabotaging individually, and we can even self-sabotage our relationships if we're not conscious of what we're doing. So how do we lead from the heart? Let's get to some good stuff here. Anyway, that was, everybody seems a little somber about that, but we really need to really come to terms with that. I write about all of this in these books in the front here that I have. Finding the Gap, some truth about the lies we tell ourselves, and Entering the Gap, more truth about the lies we tell ourselves. I talk about the mind and false ego in detail. That was just a quick overview. And I talk about the anartas. And the first anarta I name is denial. The first thing that Lord Brahma created in this world was self-deception. We couldn't be here in this world if we weren't deceiving ourselves that we're something other than a pure part of Krishna. We have to deceive ourselves to be in this world. But that self-deception gets carried away and it keeps us locked into this world of duality, swinging back and forth. And if I'm right, this is how the head goes. If I'm right, you must be wrong. And if you're right, I must be wrong. That's the head. That's the back and forth. And it just causes fights and arguments. From the heart, we look at a much bigger perspective. Each one of you has a different perspective. You're looking from a different point in this room, and you're looking at me, and so you see something a little different than the other person. In a circle, there's at least 360 perspectives, 360 points. In a sphere, there's 360 to the 360th degree of perspectives. And in the world of duality, there's two perspectives. Either I'm right and you're wrong, or you're right and I'm wrong. And we spend endless time arguing, which is really a big distraction from being Krishna conscious. It distracts us from the real point. Now, leading from the heart, when we do this for ourselves, then we can actually be a leader for others. If we can't manage our own self, and if we're not even self-aware, how are we going to help others? Who is it that thinks that they're trying to help another person? Is it my proving persona, my producing persona? We really need to understand ourselves. This is our goal in Krishna consciousness, self-realization. No one can do that work for us. We can't outsource that to anybody. No one can chant our rounds. Even our guru can't take us back to Godhead. It's really our responsibility to be conscious. So that means, being honest. So here are can somebody tell me the time, just so I can be 11:46. Okay. So I'll have a little more time than yesterday, because yesterday was... So Srila Prabhupada came, and he wanted us to become Krishna conscious. And he said often enough, better one moon than 1,000 stars, right? So there are stars, there are a lot of stars, and stars shine a little bit. So when we do Krishna consciousness, we shine. We all shine. We all have a light, and we all shine. When we take to the process of really understanding ourselves and our mechanisms, we can really remove certain barriers which actually block our light, and then we can shine more. I have a suspicion that we understand our mobile phones and our computers better than we understand the operating systems in our own human machine, which is a highly sophisticated machine. Highly sophisticated, and Krishna made no mistakes when he made this machine. And he gave us emotions for a reason. And yet we use scripture and we say all kinds of things about emotions. Let me hear, at least from this side of the room, some of the things that we say about emotions. Emotions are what? Some of the negative things we say about emotions. Come on, you guys know the drill. Maya, emotions are Maya. Come on, let me hear it. Sentimental, right, thank you. Anything else? What's that? Oh, resentment. Okay, and my emotions are also, we call them mental speculation. It's all just, and so what do? We push them down. I did that for 27 years. Now, I must say, especially since our movement is pretty patriarchal at this point, men are taught to suppress their emotions when they're little boys. They're trained that way. If a little girl cries, "Oh, are you okay?" Little boy cries, "What's wrong with you? Grow up, be a man. Don't be a sissy. Don't be a girl. Don't be a baby. You're crying? I'll give you something to cry about." How many of you men have heard that, one of those, at least once? Be honest. Yeah, you're taught to suppress your emotions, so you don't know how to deal with them. But emotions are like a gift of Krishna that gives us a lot of information. It's a gift that gives us information about how to manage this body and what's going on. If you think about it, if you cut yourself or you break your arm, right? There's pain, right? That's a feeling. And that feeling tells us, oh, something's going on there. I need to pay attention here. Oh my gosh, look at that gash. I might need to get stitches, right? We at least do that much for our physical body. But when the emotional body, the subtle body, and all that buried pain from our childhood, from all of our past lives, even the pain of the soul at that very core, we push it down. And it's meant to give us an early warning signal. It's actually meant to give us some information. When we're in a car and we see the red little light come on with the gasoline thing, do we kick the dashboard and say, no, we fill the car with gasoline. When that seatbelt noise comes on, oh, it's so irritating. It's telling me to put my seatbelt on. Yes, sometimes people do cut that wire so they don't have to hear that noise. But that noise is meant to protect us. Put your seatbelt on. Anything can happen at any point in time, and people who don't wear seatbelts get hurt a lot of times. But we cut those early warning signals. Now, what was I going to say? Krishna designed our body, our mind, even our false egos to help us to actually get out of this world of duality. However, the pull is really strong to just compensate. There's this problem over here. We're going to fix it with this problem over here. The emotions are giving me trouble. Boom, I'm just going to cover them over and push them up out of the way. I'd like to say that statistics show, I don't have the exact statistic, but that the majority of heart attacks and gastrointestinal diseases are on this side of the room here with the men. So you think you're pushing down your emotions and they're going away. They're going in your body and they're harming your body because the buck stops here with the body. Krishna designed the body. The body will not lie. The body will not lie to you. It will tell you the truth. Something's going on. There's something I can't digest. And we think it's our food because we have gastro problems, but actually we have not digested our emotions. We have not dealt with them at all. So we cut the wires. We don't deal with the early warning signals, and it will come back later, and it'll be more serious. So I want to give you some gifts now after all of that. That was a little heavy, sorry. I'm not trying to hurt any of you, but we really got to break out of our self-deception here. We really got to wake up, Jeev Jago. So the gifts, first of all, I want to give is the gift of respect. So the gift of respect is an interesting gift. It's part of Lord Chaitanya's Trinadapi Sunichena. Now, we can't really respect others if we don't respect ourselves. And self-respect is so important, and I'll give you an example of why it's so important. That first pained body, that cracked persona that I told you all about, it kind of leaves a hole inside of us, a little hole there. So what we usually do is we try to get respect and validation from the outside world. Like, yeah, oh, you're so great. Oh, that was so wonderful. Oh, you got an A. Oh, that was really good. And we get that validation to make us feel better. But because that pained persona, that wounded child has not been healed, we get it and it goes down the drain. So we have to keep getting more and more and more, and proving more and working harder and getting more and more, and it just keeps going down the drain, and it feels good as it goes down the drain, but then it's gone, and we can't hold on to it. This system is not sustainable. We can't give what we don't have. If we don't have any self-respect, how can I give respect to another person, really? And I have to be able to hold what other people give me, and then I have a lot to give away. But if I can't hold it, I have none, and I have to try to keep getting it from others, and then they're trying to get it from me, and we're all pulling and pushing and throwing our pain on others, and we wonder why there's so many problems. If each one of us just worked on our own self and cleared out all of our issues and cleaned all that up, we wouldn't be throwing anything on anybody. That's Krishna consciousness. A pure devotee purifies because there's no baggage there. He's not throwing his stuff on other people. He's holding so much, and then he's giving it out, and more is coming back, and he's giving it out, and more is coming back. It's not going out down the drain. So respect is very important, and self-respect is primary, actually. And it's not like a proving persona. It's not I'm better than. It's not a producing persona. It's just I am a soul. I'm in a human machine. And I can say, again, I started the conversation with it's the most challenging life to be in a human machine. It's challenging. Now we take on Krishna consciousness and we say, oh, I'm not going to take any intoxication, and I'm going to go for the highest perfection of pure devotion. Now we're swimming upstream. We're not going with the flow of everybody else. That's super challenging. We can at least respect ourselves that we're taking on that challenge. And it's not an easy journey. It's a long journey. It's a gradual process, but it's a noble, noble journey. It's the best journey, and it takes something. So respect. Okay, the next one is integrity. These are all gifts. So the gift of integrity in Kali Yuga, Dharma the bull has only one leg, right? And what's that leg? Truthfulness. But if we can't be truthful with ourselves, if we can't be self-honest, like, I'm feeling a bit disturbed here, what's going on here? Or if we can't be honest with what's going on inside of us, if we can't keep integrity with small things in our life, like even being on time, how are we going to stay in integrity with our big vows to our spiritual master and to ourselves? Our vows. I want to be perfect. How are we going to stay in integrity if we can't even keep the little integrities? The little integrities are practiced for the big integrities. And this integrity also includes confidentiality. That's something that our ISKCON society would be well to learn about. Confidentiality in the 6 exchanges, it's sharing confidentially and listening confidentially. But we don't know what confidentiality means because we immediately share with the whole world. And then what does that create? An environment where nobody trusts anybody and no one's going to share anything. So we're actually exacerbating the problem. Nobody wants to share because then it's going to be out in the whole world. Okay, so that's that. Integrity. Empathy. Empathy again begins with self-empathy. Okay, thank you. I'm off the charts here anyway. Empathy begins with self-empathy. This little jiva inside here is struggling to be Krishna conscious. It's struggling to be Krishna conscious. It's just like a little child, like wanting to walk. Can you imagine, 1-year-old, you've seen little 1-year-olds, they totter, can you imagine us saying, is that all you can do? Oh my gosh, what is wrong with you? You're just so weak. You're so weak, and come back when you can, take a few steps. And then the baby takes a few steps, it's like, and it falls down. Oh my God, you're so fallen. Look at you, is that all you can do? Is that what we do to little children when they're learning how to walk? But we're learning how to walk against the grain. We're learning how to walk, the spiritual talk. We're learning. And we denigrate ourselves and others sometimes, but a lot we denigrate ourselves when we're less than perfect. We think we're looking for perfection. I'd like to say that probably we're looking for perfection. Even as a little child, we want to be perfect because really what we want is connection. So really, it's not about perfection, it's about connection. And when we're deeply connected with Krishna, that connection is perfection. It's not about doing everything right on the external and being perfect on the external. It's about heart-to-heart connection with Krishna, with the holy name, with ourselves, and with others. And if we're not connected with ourself, then who is it that's trying to connect with everybody else? Who is that connecting? My false ego is connecting with your false ego because, we have agreement, we have the same ideas, and I agree with you, and we're good friends, and we connect. That's a type of connection. A heart connection can be had with anybody, even if they have a completely different perspective. We can validate their perspective. Oh, I never thought of it like that. Wow, I never saw that before. But instead, somebody's got to be right, somebody's got to be wrong, and we fight and distract ourselves. So empathy, when we can empathize with this little soul inside here, which is the hardest one for us to empathize with because we clearly know all the things that we've done that are less than perfect. When we can empathize with this little soul, we can empathize with anybody. Okay, so now the next one is gratitude. Gratitude and appreciation. These are powerful ways of connecting. When we're grateful for the blessings that Krishna sends us, even the ones that don't look so nice, and we can say, okay, Krishna, thanks a lot. That's what I said to Krishna, thanks a lot. What do you want? What do you want to teach me? What do you want to show me? Show me. I don't get it. Show me. So when we can at least be grateful even though that was a sarcastic thank you on my part. When we can be grateful, then the blessings can be revealed to us. There are blessings in everything. Krishna only wants to bless us. He only wants to bless us. But we have our idea what blessings should look like, and so sometimes we miss the real blessings. So gratitude. Can somebody tell me the time, please? 04? Okay. The last one I want to talk about is vulnerability. Vulnerability. Yes. How many of you want to be brave, courageous leaders in our ISKCON movement? How many of you want to be brave and courageous? Nobody's raising their hand because they know what it means. But how many of you, if I didn't put that word down, how many of you want to be brave and courageous? Some of you see, you're not being honest. Everybody wants to be brave. Don't you want to be a warrior? Everybody wants that. I'm thinking there's a little self-respect missing there if you don't want to be brave. Being brave means being able to be vulnerable, because those vulnerable soft spots inside of us are much closer connected to our soul self than all of this stuff that goes on up here. Who's in our heart? Krishna, and we're in our heart too. And Krishna and us are in our heart together. But we avoid our heart. We avoid our heart. I have to tell you one thing about love. We're here for love of Godhead, right? Love and pain are intimately connected. Love and pain are intimately connected. You look at the gopis, right? That's the highest example. But there's a pain there because there's love there. So when we push down the pain, guess what else we push down? We push down the love. So these are important things to understand. Okay? Pain and love are connected. And we're not looking for perfection. We're really looking for connection. We're looking for connection with our own self, our soul self. We're looking to find out, who am I? And that connection spreads out, and instead of fighting and arguing who's right and who's wrong, instead, I want to connect with you. I want to hear you. I want to hear your struggles, and I want to encourage you, because we're all on this path together, and we need to encourage one another. I notice in our movement there is a lot of outreach, and I don't see a lot of inreach. And I feel like if we don't take care of each other, if we don't take care of one another, if we don't take care of ourselves, how are we really going to be able to care for others? It's not going to happen. So I wanted to say, I do have copies of this book. I also have a booth downstairs. This describes what I just told you now is just like a tip of the iceberg. In this book, I really go into a lot more detail, and I put about all my mistakes in there. I don't like to see devotees suffering. You know, we're on this noble path. We don't have to perpetuate our suffering. How can we remove some of these layers? They're heavy. These layers are heavy, and they're burdensome, and we're carrying them around. And when we can take them off, it's, wow, we don't feel so suffocated. We can breathe. And I want the devotees to really have that opportunity to breathe easier and not have to carry around these heavy weights. So, and I also want everybody, upon leaving, to take one of these brochures. This is about Karuna Care. Karuna Care is an organization approved by ISKCON, and we do confidential listening. We have courses on feelings, courses on grief, courses on trauma. These are things that we don't talk about. I didn't even know what grief was until I took the course, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's what the pain is, that the soul is feeling. It's grief. The soul is grieving. We don't really have those finally developed feelings of separation, but we do feel some kind of grief that we don't know who we really are and we're not with Krishna. And this is a really wonderful organization. Please take one of these brochures, if not for yourself, for others in your congregation or friends. On the website, there's a help button, and people can call and have somebody confidentially listen, someone who knows how to listen confidentially and offer emotional support. Now, I wanted to give you a little chance to ask a few questions, because I know that was a lot that I put out there. It's really a longer seminar, but please, here, let me give you a microphone. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very nice seminar you spoke. I just want to ask about this pain and love you mentioned.
Uh-huh.
Is it really necessary pain always?
Are you married?
No, but...
okay. All right.
I cannot you remove it from... it doesn't sound... So.
Well, it's an important point, because when you love someone, like, do you love your spiritual master? Maybe. Kind of. Yeah. And if your spiritual master leaves the world, or your spiritual master has left the world, wouldn't you feel some pain?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because you have love.
Yeah, but
okay.
I mean, you can also rationalize it, no?
We can rationalize anything. We can rationalize everything.
But I mean, Krishna conscious terms, no? You can...
Rationalization is not realization. Rationalization is a compensation for something. Does that make sense? I'm not listening to you. Go ahead. Tell me what you're trying to say.
It doesn't fit too much, this pain within our...
No, it doesn't.
Highest blissful Ananda atmosphere.
Right. It doesn't quite fit in there, but one time Prabhupada had a look on his face, and somebody said, Prabhupada, you look very grave. He said, you do not know. What did he say? I'm in the ecstasy. So love, real love, is intense. It's intense. It's not just a casual, yeah, I love you. Real love is intense. And in that intensity, we have to grow a little bit. Even Krishna asks the gopis to grow, right? He leaves them. They have to grow. And anytime you have to grow, there's a little bit of pain in growing, because I just want to,
Suggesting that if you know the philosophy well, you can overcome that pain quickly with the philosophical understandings.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that understanding. Thank you. It can help, and I did that for 27 years, and it did help me for 27 years. But I missed out, and it's not that it doesn't help, but you want to balance the two. You don't just want to side on the one side and just use the rationalization, and that's the whole thing, because there's another side to it. So you want to integrate both the head and the heart. You don't just want to be one-sided, because you're going to be off balance. And Krishna consciousness is about balance. So you can use the philosophy sometimes to help you through painful times. And that's there. We use our protective mechanisms When we're in pain as a child, Krishna gives us those protective mechanisms because we're too overwhelmed as a child. We wouldn't be able to handle it. And that's not the end of the story. Then there's more to integrate and balance. So growing means stretching, and there will be a little pain in that stretching. Does that make sense? And I thank you for understanding what he was saying. Krishna consciousness is not a quick fix. The material world is a quick fix. This doesn't work, I got this answer. When I became a devotee, I thought I had the absolute truth. I thought I had all the answers, so that was really great. I could answer everything, but I didn't deal with anything. And it waited for me. So Krishna consciousness is not a quick fix. Sometimes we need quick fixes. Sometimes we need Band-Aids. We do need them sometimes. But if we put a Band-Aid on a wound and we never change it and we never pull it off and we never look at the wound, it might be infected. So we don't want to err on that side. Does that make sense? Is that okay?
I also think that when we really do understand the philosophy, we understand it with our heart, and so it will be effective. But sometimes we paste words over the pain, and the pain is still there, and it pops up later. So he's right. It's just that you have to be pretty advanced for it to work all the time.
Yeah. Did you get what she said? Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. 1, 2, 3, and I don't want to stay over time because I want to have integrity. So.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you
Yes.
for your nice seminar. I just got one question. Like when we study the scriptures, we have a perspective that material world is a place of trauma, like all the
It is.
pains. And there are also some slokas where Krishna is saying that we should be tolerating our emotional fluxes, be it our good emotion, be it our negative emotion. So sometimes we
I
think...
talk about that in my book.
Okay.
Go ahead. Sometimes we...
So sometimes we think that we should be like ignoring the emotions and we should be focusing more on the connect with Krishna, with our Guru. And then, like what you were mentioning, that this is a need of the heart. So how do we balance both perspectives?
It's in the book. It's not a one-word sentence. It's really, but you have to at least recognize that you want to balance and you want to integrate the two things. You want to use the heart to direct the mind, not the other way around. You don't want the mind and the head and the false ego to direct the heart and you just stay in this corner here. You want the heart to talk to the, and direct. You want Krishna in the heart to direct the mind, not the other way around. Does that make sense? Yeah. It's 12:15 and the next class begins at 12:30. I don't want to overstay. If you do have questions, you can come and talk to me afterwards. And I do want to offer, if anybody wants to get these books, I have a booth downstairs, Karuna Care booth. Please take one of the brochures. And I have 5 sets here. I have a QR code if anybody wants to buy the sets of books. Thank you for your time.